New school tips for preserving old school holiday traditions and values this season. We're joined by child advocate Florence Romano. She's also the co-host of Finger Painting the Future and Windy City Nanny web series. It's good to see you, Florence.
So happy to be here. Feeling very cheery, very merry.
Very merry and bright, festive.
Exactly.
The holidays are upon us. And, you know, when you're talking about the holidays and kids going to school, there's a lot of careful usage of vocabulary that kids are kind of taught now what to say, what not to say. But there's really core values there that can be practiced without discerning any particular holiday, correct?
Correct. I think we live in a world today where everyone's so careful about what the words that they're choosing and things, but I think that really this time of year for children, it's really important for them to feel the magic around them, feel the blessings around them, and also feel the gratitude around them. And it's a really great time to also be teaching children about making memories and things that mean something and giving back to people too. So there's a lot of lessons to be learned no matter how you celebrate the season. I think we can all agree that those are meaningful things and we should be passing those things on to our children.
Yeah, absolutely. So what would you say, because kids, they think about the holidays and they think of presents. But you're talking about giving something to someone else. So where would you begin with the child and imparting that wisdom to be giving this holiday season?
Well, I always think about grandparents because the holidays, grandparents are really big for us. I grew up in an old school Italian family. My Nana and Papa lived with us growing up. And one of the best things about Christmas was the stories, you know, and I got stories every day growing up with them. But I feel like because of COVID, we've seen where last year you couldn't maybe be with grandma or grandpa. And this year, maybe it's going to be more of a hybrid situation too. I don't know. But whether or not, I think that you could do this for grandma and grandpa, or you could do it for others. It's a posterity video where you actually videotape your grandparents or your family friends or cousins telling the stories that you want to remember. Because I'll tell you, both my grandparents are gone now, and we have so many videos of them telling stories about what they did during the holidays. And you miss their voices. You miss the cadence of their voices. You miss hearing the story the way they did. And eventually, you know, my children and, you know, grandchildren, you want them to know these people too. So again, you know, this is something besides, you know, the actual presents. This is a present you're going to give yourself for years and years to come. And again, it's a posterity video. So it's almost like being able to create a little time capsule.
That's a wonderful, wonderful idea. I love that idea. Let's talk about your version of the 12 acts of kindness for kids.
Yes. So 12 days of Christmas, everyone's familiar with, or it could be the 8 days of kindness for those who celebrate Hanukkah. But this is really a way for parents to maybe get your kids to be, you know, kind of calm it down a bit during all the sugar highs and, you know, trying to grab for those presents. Every day, you know, picking an act of kindness to do leading up to the holiday that you're celebrating. Maybe you're not going to fight with your siblings. That's number one. I think every parent can agree with that. You know, do the dishes for mom, or shovel the walkway for dad, write a letter to someone in need. Maybe you're going to send gifts to a veteran or a care package to an old folks home, and donate toys or food to a pantry. It's just making sure that kids understand that we need to be putting others first, especially during the holidays when there are people that are very, very lonely. And, you know, we have to remember how blessed we are.
Absolutely. And of course, it starts with the parents, right? Because a lot of these children, depending on their age, they don't know what's out there. They don't know that there's certain people in need. So it's up to us to make sure that we tell them, you know, maybe this is the path that we need to take. All right, let's talk about how families can have virtual holidays, essentially.
I know. Can you believe we're still talking about that, having virtual holidays? But there's trivia nights you can do online now, you know, that are holiday themed. One thing I would say that I did this last year, and I want to do it every year now. So caroling, you know, this seems very old school, but okay, no one would want me to show up at their house and sing. You know, I told my family I wanted to do this, and they're like, no, please spare people, you know, that. But it's a way to distance if you need to distance, but you show up at someone's house and ring that door and you just start singing. And we did it last year. And I'll tell you, the smiles it brought to people's faces, because everyone was very lonely last year. But I was like, you know what? This is so fun. This is could do, and you get the kids involved, and you can dress up even if you want to.
Yes.
But then, think about the old school stuff, going sledding and watching Christmas movies and hot chocolate and all those things. And one final thing that I love is the idea of a time capsule, but actually having your kids put together a time capsule, putting odds and ends in something, and then maybe next year you're going to open it up, or maybe 5 years from now you're going to open it up. But, we are going through a really weird time in the world right now, and I know we don't ever want to hear the word COVID again, but we eventually probably do want to remember what life was like now, and maybe a time capsule would be a good way to remember certain things in a better light than perhaps we're living.
That's so true. Hear, hear, Florence. And then finally, one of my favorites is making your own Christmas cards. You're speaking my language with this one. I've always loved doing that. As a kid, that was my thing. When I didn't have money to go buy a gift, I would make a card, and it was just as special. Florence, I want to thank you so much for joining us, and happy holidays to you.
You too. Merry, Merry. I hope it's wonderful and blessed and memorable.
Thank you so much. We're back after this.